You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here's your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am coming to you from the back of our horse trailer at Over 2 Acres Ranch. I am Glenn the Geek from today in Morriston, Florida.
Oh, wow. Look at you. New city. I'm Jamie Jennings, and I'm in Norman, Oklahoma, and you're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Wednesday, January 17th, episode 3345. Good morning, horse people.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We have a breed highlight, and usually Jamie and I know a little bit about the breed that we're going to be talking about, or we have at least heard of them in the past. That isn't true.
Or I had like a plastic toy growing up with this breed. Not today.
Not today. We have the North American, how did you say we're going to say it?
Destrier.
Destrier horse. And Kade can correct us later when we're pronouncing that wrong. But we're going to find out about that. And Dr. Kristi hopefully is going to be here today to talk about foaling season, a reschedule.
We're going to try again.
Yeah, we're going to try that again. Do you have weird news?
Yeah, I have a little bit of weird news.
Okay, good. Well, we're going to do that today, too. And, well, I don't know. We'll do an alter post show. So just as I called you for the pre-show meeting, the builders showed up with our barn. And it's a metal barn, so it looks like a giant erector set on the back of their trailer. I mean, it does. It looks like an erector set.
Yeah, I remember when they brought mine, I was like, is that it?
I thought it would be a bigger truck, to be honest. Because the barn's 30 by 48, so that's not small, right? I mean, that's pretty good size. But yeah, so the other thing is the office for this company sent these poor guys to our house address. Now, we had given them the property address, but they went to our house. That's an hour away.
Oops. So
he calls us, and we live in a neighborhood. So he had this truck in the neighborhood, and he's going, I can't see where we're going to build a barn in your backyard. And I mean, our backyard's at the postage stamp. And I said, yeah, where are you? And he gave me the address. I said, you're at our house. They sent you the wrong place. He's like, damn it. In his best Spanish. So they're here now, and if you hear banging and crashing, that's because they're putting our barn together.
Yay, totally worth it.
Let's see how it goes. I don't know. Last night's been interesting for a lot of people around the country. I know it's cold. We've got into the 20s here. How about you?
Look, it was so nice yesterday. It got all the way up to 22.
Oh,
it was amazing.
Heat wave.
Now,
Heat
it's
wave.
supposed to actually get above freezing today, but I mean, I feel like I've been under house arrest. It's just been awful. Like, it's been... I mean, like in the -10 with the wind chill, and even worse. I woke up yesterday and it was one.
I got to tell you.
Who lives like that?
And you're not even the worst. I mean, some of these people had snow and a cold, all of that together. I'm feeling for everybody out there.
Oh, I know. It sucks everywhere. It doesn't matter. Cold is cold. But, man, I mean, we had a couple dustings of snow. School has been canceled, except for Lucas's school, which has been great. Because the roads are fine. It's just people's water pipes are freezing. And my automatic waterers in the barn did not keep up. The pan was good, but the pipes froze underground, so not much I can do about that. It's been a livestock nightmare is what it's called. So yeah, and my blessed sister-in-law sent out this text complaining about how she was in an office and people kept opening the door near her, and I was like, I want to punch you in the face right now.
I love the post.
Opening the door.
I love the post that Peggy did on the auditor page where she asked everybody to post their barn fashion as they head out to feed in this weather. And I got to tell you, there's some interesting stuff people wear in the winter. You cobble together whatever you can right now, and there was some interesting. I have to give a credit though to Julia, whose horse husband was out there in a red onesie. So,
I love it.
Good job. Well done. Anyway, we have a show to do. Let's get to some daily Whinnies.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy
Well, happy birthday to Libby Cluett and Zoe Copulis. Happy birthday to both of you, and welcome new auditors Sue and Sam. Welcome. If you guys haven't asked to join the auditor room yet, just search for HRN Auditors on Facebook, and we'll let you in, and we thank you for your support. We really do appreciate it.
My daily Whinnie goes out to all of you sweet angels who tried to come up with a name for this little pony that I bought. Update on the pony. The veterinarian is coming out today. She's super excited to meet the pony. He is, I sticked him, Farm Boy got back in town, so we sticked him yesterday, and he stands at 13.3. I guessed it.
Oh, he is a hand over Scooter. He's a hand taller than Scooter.
Yes, thank God. He's big enough for me to ride, so that's good. Precious Magic Gal Jennings, the old Mustang pony I started, was 12.2. So I'm like, I looked ridiculous, but 12.3 I can get behind. Anyway, everybody suggested names. And I'm going to run through some of them because, oh my God, you guys are so good at naming things. Like, and the thing is, y'all sent these names in, and I want backstory as to why some of them you came up with it. But we had names like Checkers, Storytime, Groot, Kismet, Sylvester, Reginald, Rocket, Moondance, Madison, Lucky, Pinto Bean, which, by the way, we came really close to the word bean.
I like Pinto Bean.
I know, but you know what we call beans in this house?
What?
Testicles. So couldn't call them bean. Scout, Cowboy, Ryan, Fergie, Rocket, Wade, Norman, Angus, Jellybean, Buckle, Finn, Spot, Teddy, Peter Parker, Gus, Tejas, Ranger, Captain Hook, Artie, Banjo, Hank, and Chance, and then the two finalists. Well, the one that I liked the most was the name Goose. I was like, that is a great name for a pony. We already have Mavericks, and we'd have Maverick and Goose.
Oh, yeah, you'd have the whole movie right on your farm.
But I've always had this thing where I feel like ponies need to be named after a food. And I don't know why.
I went like, Muppets, but that's okay.
Chocolate chip. Ponies, like guinea pigs, need food names. I don't know why. But I just mentioned that to Chad, and he came down and saw the pony yesterday. And as much as I love all your suggestions, y'all know the rules. If we let the husband name the horse, then the husband will like the horse, and then we will be greenlit to do whatever we want with said pony or horse. So the name that Chad came up with, and he read through all of them, and I think there was some rhyming things that he kind of played with. And pony's name is now Taco. And honestly, once he said Taco, I was like, yeah, I see that. I can see Taco. So Taco is now in the barn. And I mean, I was like, his show name is going to be Talk to Me Goose. Like, it's going to be like a whole thing. And Chad's like, no, his name is Taco. So y'all know the rules. We just have to live by the names.
You can spell it and say it, so that's good.
I know. Everybody knows what a taco is. And I mentioned it, and somebody said, I'll never turn down a taco. So
now Taco Tuesday has a new meaning.
Oh, my God. There's a show name right there, Glenn.
Taco Tuesday. I love that. That's perfect.
Okay. Perfect. Now he's got a show name. I was thinking we got to come up with something with Taco. Taco Tuesday. Duh. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Glenn.
So basically, the two guys in your life have helped you name the horse.
You know what? Maybe I'll cancel that if you're going to take too much credit for it. His name is Taco Wednesday now.
Well, Live EQ is a free app for equestrians and is breaking down barriers and making the sport more accessible to everyone. The app connects riders with local opportunities such as riding lessons, horse leasing, and equestrian jobs. This really is one of the most comprehensive apps that we have seen. Go check it out today if you haven't already. Sign up. It's free to sign up and free to use it. It's Live EQ. That's LIVEEQ.com. All right, first up, today we have Kade Bartlett, who's going to join us to talk about this breed that we mentioned before, that we're even saying right. But I don't know nothing about it, so we're going to learn about the North American, this is where you jump in and say the word.
Oh, hold on, I got to get
Destrier.
to it. The North American Destrier.
Destrier.
I mean, it could be Destrier. I don't know.
Well, let's find out. Well, hi, Kade. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank you.
Where are you located, Kade?
Wallowa, Oregon. It's the far northeast corner of Oregon, about 2 hours from the Idaho border.
Oh, it's nice and sunny there then, and warm.
Hot.
We've been, yeah. Everything you said, the polar opposite. No pun intended.
Literally, the polar opposite. Kade, first of all, pronounce the name of this breed for us, and we'll see if we even got close.
Okay, so it is currently a breed in development. We have not reached purebred status yet, but it is the North American Destrier.
Nailed it.
Destrier. Now, am I right? I used to do work at the Renaissance fairs, and I owned an acting company that did medieval feasts for years. The Destrier, wasn't that the horse that the knights rode? Isn't that what they called him?
That is correct.
Oh, okay.
We were paying homage to the history of what the Destrier was, but we are recreating a modern version. And with that, we've compiled different breeds in order to create that.
So why? This is the question.
So there was a few years back, there was a move to create the drum horse.
Right.
And the drum horse was bred for the sole purpose of carrying the large kettle drums in the cavalry. And the move that was made here in the States was to have a more athletic draft. Now, a lot of people don't realize that before the International Drum Horse Association, there was the Gypsy Cob and Drum Horse Association. Now, the Gypsy Cob and Drum Horse Association years ago had one key component that is now different than the drum horse of today, and that is that they allowed the inclusion of Frisian blood. When IDHA was founded and took over, they removed the Frisian blood. So when we branched off and started our own registry, and I had decided that I wanted to develop a more athletic, refined riding horse, but still maintain draft appearance, we decided as a board that we would go ahead and use the three founding breeds that the drum horses were using at the time, which was Shire, Clydesdale, and Gypsy Vanner. But we would bring back in Frisian. And because our horses are vastly different in type, and have that refinement and the elegance that the Frisian brings in, we found that our horses met more of a type of a Destrier than they did a drum. And so that is when the North American Destrier Horse Registry was founded in November of last year.
So if we go back in time to the Knights, we all think that they were riding these great big huge draft horses, but that wasn't the case, was it?
No. And most people don't realize that the average height of a horse in that time was 14 to 15 hands. The larger the horse, yes, as more intimidating, but more cumbersome. The larger horses were used for farm work, pulling carts, trade. And so, yes, the 14 to 15 hands was average. Now, our breed standard calls for a minimum of 15 hands, but we do not have a height requirement for a maximum.
So what you're basically trying to get is a more athletic draft horse, as I'm understanding.
Yes, yeah, and that's why we brought in the Frisians.
Now, are there? Are you looking at doing shows specifically for these horses? What are you looking at doing with the breed?
Yes, so we will actually be putting on some virtual shows this year. The traditional Gypsy Cob Association is based in the UK. There is going to be an in-person show in August here in Oregon, where there will be Destrier classes. We plan on putting on another TGCA sponsored show back east as well. So there will be shows for them. Now they will show in a different class than drum horses, because of the type being different. But yes, there will be opportunities for people to show, and we've had quite a following of people, as you mentioned, that are doing the Renaissance reenactments.
So your look, I mean, when I'm on your website, basically we're talking, I mean, because of the different breeds that you're putting together to make this, the horses all look a little bit different. There's not like a standard black horse or that kind of thing.
Right. And because this is going to take so long for this to reach purebred status, because we're following the filial system, the way it was designed when it was created
What's
so
that
many
mean,
years
by the way,
ago.
filial?
So it's the F generation system. And when you're doing breed development, when you take say, hypothetically, I take a Gypsy Vanner and I cross it to a Frisian.
Yep.
That resulting offspring is what's called an F1, because each parent is an F0. They're the starting base. So when I blend those genetics, I get an F1. Now, if I take an F1 and I breed it to another F1, I get an F2. And you work your way up. And once we get into the F4s, F5s, and F6, we're getting to purebred status. But because we all know how long it takes to produce a horse and grow a horse out to where it can reproduce, this will take quite some time. And so as we're in the beginning phases of this breed development, we are going to see variation in type until people start breeding selectively for type based off the breed standard, and we start producing more animals that meet that breed standard.
Boy, this is a long process, isn't it?
This is a long con, man.
It is. It's a very drawn out process. It's a very long process, but the thing that I found interesting is it seems that our ancestors and people of the past who created the Shires, who created the Clydesdales, who created the Gypsy Vanners, I'm sure they were called crazy back then as well. But look at us hundreds of years down the road now, and we have these breeds. And I think it's awesome to now in this century work on developing another breed that maybe 100 years from now somebody else gets to enjoy.
Well, that is cool. That is cool. And I love the idea of this. I'm a draft horse guy too. I'm a draft horse and a pony guy. So, when I'm looking at the pictures and when I took a look at your website, I kind of got it. And also a Renaissance guy, right? So I kind of got it. I got where you were going with it. And then you add the Gypsy in, and then you're going to get color. I mean, you're going to add some color into it. This is pretty cool. How many people are working on the project? How many breeders?
I believe we have about 15 breeders that are working towards creating North American Destriers at this time.
And do you have some?
Oh, I do. Yes, I have an F2 stallion. I have a F2 filly, and I have a F2 mare, an F1 mare. The F1 mare will be bred to the F2 stallion this year, and that'll produce an F2 foal. And then we have another foal that will be an F2 reserved that we will bring in next year.
Very cool. Well, good luck with this. I don't know that we've ever talked to anybody that was at the beginning stages of this process, so it's interesting to learn how it all works. Good luck with it. And are you a knight, by the way?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Glenn, in his heart, he is.
He sounds like he needs a suit of armor.
In my heart of hearts, I am. Yes.
It sounds like you do need a suit of armor. I mean, you got to have one laying around to do this.
Somebody said that I needed to get full attire and have a photo shoot with my horses.
You do
in all the garb.
You do. That would be perfect for your website, right? Be perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That only costs you about more than one horse, but Who?
Worth it.
Yeah, who's worrying about money at this point?
Oh, I know. Right. Yep. At this point, and that's what, my grandpa told me one time. He said, "Do you know how to make a small fortune raising horses?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, you have to start with a large fortune."
That's right.
Yep.
Kate, thank you and good luck. The website is nadhr.org, nadhr.org. We'll put a link to it in our show notes if you want to head over there and check out the pretty horses. Thanks, Kate.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye. There you go, brand new registry. I didn't know how all that worked. It takes a long time.
I mean, that's a long
You gotta
time.
be
I hope
committed.
he's young. Hope he's young.
Yeah, I know. You got to be committed to that. All right, State Line Tech is a sponsor of today's show, and I'm heading over there right now, and guess what the top banner says? Cold weather essentials.
Winter weather gear.
Exactly. That's exactly what it says. And when I go there, I find, let's see here, I am finding 6 pages of blankets and sheets and cold weather boots. What boots are you using currently?
I mean, I have for like the extreme weather, I have the dry shod haymakers.
Do you like those?
Which are, oh my God, I love them so much. I mean, I've had them 5 years.
We found those at a trade show when they first started, if I remember right.
Yeah, and I did a review, hoping they'd buy ads, but I guess I didn't do a good enough review. But
you
5
still have
years
the boots.
later, I still have the boots. So.
Well, you can find all kinds of people boots, horse boots, blankets, sheets. A lot of it is on sale over right now at the cold weather store at statelinetack.com. And God, I did read a report that right now retailers are selling more blankets this year than they have in the past 5 years. Blankets are selling. I wonder why. And also they have heated buckets and they have the heaters you put in buckets. They have everything. So head on over right now to statelinetack.com for all your winter needs. And I can imagine there's a lot of blankets right now being torn to shreds.
No.
This Horse Health Report is brought to you by Daily Dose Equine, non-GMO core nutrition for horses and ponies of all ages. Dr. Kristi Gran is going to be back with us, hopefully she's, keep your fingers crossed, to talk about foaling season.
Well, we've got her this time. I would like to welcome Dr. Kristi Gran to the show to talk about foaling season. Kristi, where are you coming to us from?
I am at Conley and Kuntz Equine Hospital in Columbia City, Indiana.
Ooh, that's a beautiful place to deliver babies in the winter. Whew, sounds fun.
No kidding. It's pretty cold.
Oh my gosh. Well, now, do you find that on the worst stormy nights that's when the mares have the babies?
I don't know that there's scientific proof that happens, but yes, I feel like weather changes definitely push things along. Yeah. Or maybe it's just that we feel like it's the most inconvenient time, and that's what happens. Yeah.
That could be true. Well, hey, we're here to talk to you about foaling season. I have had 3 foals, and I'm never doing that again. I said that last time, but for real this time, I really mean it. It is such a challenge, and it's so it can be so daunting and difficult. But let's get started talking kind of about the beginning of having a baby. I'm assuming you're here to talk about the actual delivery day.
Sure. I mean, I'll talk about anything. Yeah. But sure. Yep. The delivery day is probably one of the most important places to start for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've noticed our mare is getting close. She's given us the telltale signs. We've started to milk her out and do you use those milk test strips?
Yep. So we actually use pool test strips, but they are basically looking at calcium and pH changes right before they are ready to go.
So even the pool ones are the exact same. The ones you use for your pool are the exact same ones that you can spend 10 times the amount of and buy online for your horse?
They're not the exact same ones, but they work pretty well, especially if you can't get your hands on the other ones. Yep.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so it's time. We've got the stall bedded. We're waiting in the barn at night, and the baby starts to come. Talk to me, Goose.
So the biggest thing that I tell people is you got to know who to call and call fast. So the big thing or the big difference between mares and humans is that mares go super fast. They have explosive labors, and even 30 minutes can be too long for that baby to be stuck in the birth canal. So obviously, in a perfect world, every birth would be attended. Obviously, there are plenty of mares that foal out without a human being present and do just fine. But to minimize possible catastrophes, obviously having a human there is very, very helpful. And a lot of it is really just knowing what to look for. So nature is amazing and has created animals that know what they're doing, and the majority of mares are going to foal just fine without help. But if you know what to look for as far as, that you should be seeing 2 feet and a nose. And if you're not seeing that, you need to figure out what is there so you can rearrange it if need be. You need to know that what you should see first is white or clear, not red, that you're not dealing with a red bag. So usually what I tell people is most of it is a whole bunch of preparation for 10 minutes of the mare doing her thing. And then you don't need any of that preparation after. But if you don't have that preparation, you can be in big trouble really quick. So knowing who you're going to call if there is problems and calling them sooner rather than later is the other deal. Having transportation arranged if necessary, because dystocias, when they are having trouble delivering, dystocias a lot of times are best handled in a hospital setting, where we can put them under general anesthesia, use a hoist basically to help us, lift their butt up in the air and get us some more room in there. So, having your truck and trailer available and not frozen to the ground, with, out of gas, anything like that is very, very important.
And it's important to have, like you say, like dystocias, but also, to know the mare and say, okay, is this a mare that does it pretty easy? Is this a mare that may have some trouble? This last foal that I had, I was heading out of town and I was like, I just don't know if she tends to go about a week early. So I took her to this clinic. I even got back home and I was like, you know what? She's 3 days away. I am going to just leave her. And, and it's a place that checks them like constantly. And they noticed one spot of blood on her inside of her ankle, inside of her hock, pulled her in, stick their arm in there, and they felt a shoulder. So, and he had told me, the veterinarian there told me if she wasn't here, they'd all be dead. And so sometimes it's best to, if you're not one who can handle things, like clearly I'm not, to have, even take them somewhere that does this. Take them to you.
Yeah. And that, a great example, we have a mare here at the clinic right now that has never had any problems having a baby, but they live 45 minutes away and they really don't want to get in trouble and be 45 minutes from help. And so she's here a lot because there's, weather and that kind of thing. And we also don't want to be traveling through that. But that's a huge thing. If you're not comfortable or experienced, or you're at all nervous about your mare, definitely seek out either a veterinary clinic or a breeding facility, somebody that can help in regards to, the actual delivery process. And sometimes it's worth putting the extra money into that than to have a disaster happen. In the end. So,
So your baby's born, comes out, everything's fine. Nature does this job. Nobody needs to mess with it and interfere. Tell everybody what the 1, 2, 3 rule is.
So 1, 2, 3, we say, from the time that they hit the ground, they should be standing in an hour, nursing in 2 hours, and the placenta should be completely passed in 3. There is definitely some wiggle room, but those are definitely the markers that we follow in regards to when to call your vet. Sometimes your vet will say, just sit it out for a little bit, depending on, what the exact situation is. But in general, standing in an hour, nursing in 2, and the placenta out in 3.
Okay. And it seemed very weird to me when I had the first foal is don't throw that placenta away. You save it because your veterinarian's going to want to look at it. As gross as it is.
Throw it in an empty feed bag or a garbage bag or something, but we want to see it at that new foal exam just to make sure that it's all there. it's huge, and there can be tears and that kind of thing in it. So we just want to make sure that there's nothing left behind. It also can give us a indicator that we need to watch this foal close for any problems in the, first 24 to 72 hours, depending on, any evidence of placentitis or other infections or anything like that.
Gotcha. Now, I think one of the common issues that arise later in the foal's life, if you can call it an issue, is when they see the baby and they want to go and snuggle and kiss it and touch it and rub it and love it. Now, some people call that imprinting. Some people call that overly handling the horse. What do you encourage people to do when their foal is born?
So I am more of a hands-off, like let nature do its thing. I do think it's important to establish boundaries right off the bat with these foals. We're in a unique situation in a hospital setting where we are handling these foals quite a lot because we're doing lots of things to them. But we need the mom to establish dominance over that baby and teach that baby proper manners, and how to handle itself around humans and when to be scared and not scared and that kind of thing. So yes, getting in there and, touching its feet and making sure that it is comfortable with a human is great, but we shouldn't be so on top of it that it thinks, we're an equal or, we're the mother. And one of the ways to think about it is, it's all cute and cuddly when it's 50 pounds, but when it's 1,000 pounds and it thinks that it's its playmate, we could be in huge trouble getting people hurt. So we have to establish those boundaries early, that we love them and we're in charge of them, but they can't run us all over.
Give me some space. Yeah. So a story about that is I was at a place where they had a mini foal and they'd never had a mini foal before. And the little girl, the teenager, taught it when she slaps the lap, the mini foal comes running over and dives on the ground and kind of rolls over like a dog.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so cute right now. But what about when that mini is 500 pounds and thinks it should run over and kick its feet up in your face? Make good decisions, people.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Also, before we let you go, give me some cold weather foaling tips, because this is they never have them on beautiful sunny days. We don't design it like that. So what can we do to help everybody?
No, they don't. So the big thing is to make sure that they're in a place that is out of the wind, and out of the elements. So a closed barn with decent ventilation is great. Nice deep bedding, shavings or straw. I think people go back and forth on what the best for babies is, but a nice bedded, clean, dry stall out of the wind will do just fine for them on the super, super frigid days. Getting in there and, giving the mare a chance to clean her off or clean the baby off, but also maybe helping her dry off a little quicker and getting a blanket on them is fine. But you'll be surprised even on the frigid days how warm a stall can be out of the wind, especially if you've got multiple horses in that barn. Sometimes people will put up heating lamps or that kind of thing. I think sometimes we don't give them as much credit as nature has given them. They tend to do pretty well as long as we can get them dry and again, a bedded stall that they can huddle under and huddle with mom.
It's so interesting too, just in the same area. So I have a friend that delivers a bunch of foals and she likes to have it done out in her field. She feels like it's a cleaner open space. But if I did that here, I would have to worry about coyotes, and so you've got to kind of know your location, I would think, as far as that, what's around you.
Yeah. And it's very much a pick your battles situation too, because yes, a nice, field is beautiful and clean and they can get out of the piles of manure and that kind of thing. But you're right. If it's freezing cold or if there's predators or anything like that, you got to fight that too. So pick your battles, make sure they're clean, dry, and can at least get somewhere that they're not being rained on or anything of that nature.
Well, Dr. Gran, it has been a pleasure having you on and talking about this. It's exciting and it's scary, but it's rewarding at the same time. And thank you for doing what you do. I mean, I know there's a shortage of veterinarians in the world right now, and we appreciate you being one and coming on to talk to us about this.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Where can people go and learn more about your clinic?
So we are at Conley and Coons Equine Hospital, so ckequinehospital.com, and we're also on Facebook and Instagram, and our young vets are working on a TikTok page, I hear, too. So stay tuned for that. Yeah.
They'll have you modern in no time.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Thanks, Dr. Gran. Have a great one.
You're welcome. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Does this make you want to have a baby again, Jamie?
No. Not after the last experience.
Yeah.
I'm still recovering financially from that one.
Yeah,
but
and you
she's
also,
in a good place. And
I mean,
she's
you had
doing
about
well.
every problem there, almost every one you could deal with right there.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
So she was born sideways, came out, and then got a laceration from the stall, hit herself in the stall and got a huge rub on her side. Then she had to be bandaged for that. Then she got appendicitis, and then she broke her knee. I'm like, oh my God.
And
why?
Thankfully, that's the one with Celeste right now, our listener,
yes,
right? Yeah.
Our listener, Celeste, she knows she's not going to be rideable, but she's bred to the hilt, man, so she should be good to go.
All right, that's great. Well, this segment was brought to you by Daily Dose Equine. We're going to hear from them, and then we're going to come back with some weird news.
Hanging out here with the mad scientist who developed Daily Dose Equine horse feed formulas, Janet Geyer. And you might wonder, whenever I get my horse feed delivered to my door in Maryland or Texas or California or Missouri, am I getting the same horse feed? And the answer is...
The answer is that it is always the same formula, always the same horse feed. We don't change ingredients. We are a fixed formula feed mill.
Well, it's time for some weird news, and can I start?
Okay.
I don't usually do weird news, but this is a follow-up to your weird news story from last week. You talked about the Virginia lady who went shopping at Goodwill, bought this vase for like $3, and then ended up getting it appraised and selling it for $100,000. Remember that one?
Yes, I do.
Well, first of all, I got to see a picture of the vase. It's one ugly piece of
It's just
glass.
I wouldn't have even bought it if I was looking for a vase.
I know. It looks more like a bottle than a vase. I didn't get it,
Yeah.
but I don't know why it was so expensive. I didn't read that part. But turns out she's a horse girl. She's a horse trainer.
Love it.
So we know who's not getting the money, her husband. We know who is getting money,
Anybody
the
else,
horses.
The horses.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny that she was a horse trainer and it was one ugly vase. Shows you what taste we have.
Yep.
All right.
Exactly.
That's my follow-up. That's my contribution for this week's Weird News.
Okay, you can hit the music then.
I don't have it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Just gonna
There's
add
no
it later.
music today. I'm remote and I don't have
Oh,
that.
that's right. You're in the back of your horse trailer.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I have a follow-up to your weird news story that you gave a while ago. Remember you talked about that dog who was like the oldest dog ever?
Oh, yeah.
It was in Portugal.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be like almost 31 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't you bring your trash and your fake news onto this podcast anymore. There is a big problem with this. Doubts have been raised over whether he really was the oldest canine ever. The Portuguese government apparently logs dogs, but they didn't start logging dog ages until like a couple years ago. And so they kind of were like, yeah, he's this old. And his name is Bobby. And skeptics have been looking through pictures of Bobby in his youth versus in his senior years, which, by the way, he has like no gray hair in these older photos. It's kind of weird. But apparently in his youth, he had white paws. And in his older age, he had brown paws.
Oh, they change with time.
I mean, yeah. Just like horses, they change color. They get darker typically.
Wasn't this a Guinness thing too?
Yes, Guinness World Records is withdrawing its title until the investigation is completed. They're investigating. They got tricked. The publication said it appears his old age may have instead been due to slack fact checking. Somebody got fired.
How desperate do you want attention that you make this all up?
And the oldest dog, I think, was Spike, and it was a Chihuahua. And I think he was like 18 years old, 22 or something like that. And they came up with this dog is 31. Like, you just threw a big red flag out. Like, you could have said 21 and a half. No, we have to go with he's 31. Come on, give me a break. Anyway, drama is unfolding in the offices of the Guinness World Records books, and the representatives are, they sent out this. We are reviewing how we verify animal age records at the moment. So instead of reinstating Spike as the record holder, we are going to discuss the possibility of arranging for a second veterinarian to assess Spike. That's the second place one, because old Bobby in Portugal, he's out.
I can imagine record keeping's not really great at some of these places either. Plus, you don't get a birth certificate with your dog if it's not a registered breed.
Well, and that's the problem with Spike, as she found him in a parking lot when he was already grown.
Oh, she has no idea how old he is.
She doesn't know. They don't know about the Portugal dog.
We can't do teeth with dogs, right? We can't look at their teeth.
Nothing's adding. Well, they looked at my puppy and knew that she was 8 weeks old because she had her 8-week-old teeth came in. But I think once they're in, they're in.
Yeah, they don't get little lines on them like the horses.
No, not typically.
All right, next.
Right.
Here,
next.
You want me to? I could drum or something in between.
No, it's good. Please don't. So the next story comes from, we're going to go to Divide, Colorado. The town of Divide, Colorado, for the past 12 years has elected an animal as its mayor. It is a part of a long-running campaign hosted by the Regional County Animal Shelter. To vote for a mayor, you go on and it's $2 to place a vote. And they've raised thousands and they've saved thousands of animals, and they're really great. But the current mayor is, his time has run out. His name is Clyde. And he's a donkey, and Clyde the donkey is stepping down as the current mayor. And by the way, he's super cute. Like, there's a video. Oh my God, he's like one of those giant donkeys that's like super fuzzy. Oh, adorable.
The jokes write themselves. So we had an ass as the mayor. I kind of feel like we have a lot of those in Congress too.
I think that they're now going away from the ass, because in the current election, that is, they're taking animals' names. You can fill out an application. They're due by January 31st. And officials say that so far, the current field for the town's upcoming mayoral election consists of 3 dogs.
They only had one ass in town.
Big news. Yeah. Only one ass. They're tired of the ass. Gotta move on. All right. Next story. It seems weird to not have a little bumper there.
I had some music, not other music.
So we're going to go to Lake Tahoe area, California, and there's a woman, husband and wife, that they were like, there's something under our house. Like, we don't know what it is, but there's something under our house. So they climb under their house and look, and there's a bear under their house. A bear making a home under their porch. That's probably not ideal. So this is where stupid comes in. They call a handyman. There's like, hey, handyman, we have a bear underneath our porch and we need you to fix it. That's stupid number 1. Stupid number 2 is the handyman that showed up for this job. The handyman goes under the porch. Mind you, there's allegedly a bear under the porch. He goes under the house, looks around the crawl space with a flashlight. Ain't no bear here. Didn't see a bear. So he installs bear wires around the patio in the bottom of the house, and bear wires are to keep the bear, to prevent the bear from coming back and burrowing into its little den under the house. They're like, I don't know, they don't have a picture of it, but I'm assuming, like, I think no climb fencing kind of thing.
Real thick. Yeah,
it's real bear proof, no climb. So the bear unfortunately was still under the house. So now
he can't get out.
The handyman has trapped the bear.
And he's really
underneath the
pissed.
house. And bear is not happy. So the owners decide at this point we should probably call in a real professional who handles bears. And do you know what the professionals who handle bears are called in North Lake Tahoe,
Bear
California?
wranglers?
The Bear League.
Bear League.
The Bear League. They were summoned
The
to the
jokes
scene.
are just writing themselves
It's
today.
just too easy. It's like joke overload. They removed the wires temporarily so the bear could be urged to leave. At some point, I think they did get the bear out, but the post says the moral of the story is call the Bear League if you think there's a bear under your house. Don't expect your handyman to crawl underneath and confront a bear face to face with no experience and no idea what to do. He probably shined on his flashlight, didn't see eyes, and just closed it up. Unfortunately, it was either probably breathing on his neck or asleep. So,
well, isn't it? It's hibernation time. I can understand why they'd crawl under a house. It's warmer.
Yeah. I did, but like, I don't know. If I was a handyman okay, say my husband's a handyman and he comes in the kitchen. He's like, y'all gonna believe this. I just got to call to go look at it, see if I can find a bear underneath the You're a handyman. You're a handyman, for God's sake. You're not a bear wrangler. So, yeah, that's a good time. Good time.
The Bear League. That's how often this happens.
Call the Bear League.
A lot. It happens a lot.
1-800-BEAR League. All right, last story. I saved this one just for you. Because we're going to go to Australia.
Oh.
Where Australia, as we all know, it's full of things that we don't want to see. I mean, really. Aside from the Hemsworth family, we don't want to see anything else that's there because they have things that will kill you. And a reptile wrangler, they have those plentiful, I would assume, in Australia. A reptile wrangler was called to an Australian home because the mom. So at some point, this mother is doing her child's laundry, and she's got it hanging up on a wire outside, all of her son's clothes, and she gathers all of the clothes off of the line. They're all dry. She takes them in, she folds them, and she puts them away. Well, he's 3, so she's going through thank God it was her. She's going through she's time to get your underwear, and she opens the top drawer where she found the second most venomous snake in the entire United States, in the entire world.
Burn the whole thing down.
The 5-foot eastern brown snake was in her 3-year-old son's underwear drawer, and they did determine that she at some point collected it off the line, then folded it and stuck it in the drawer herself, Glenn. She did it. She put it in her baby's room. So they have video that is showing.
I'd never be right again. I would never do laundry again. This is the reason we don't hang stuff out in Florida.
No, you can't do it. And so there's video. I've watched the video. You can't watch the video. It'll be the worst thing ever. Share the video showing the moment that they open the drawer, the Wrangler opened the drawer in the boy's bedroom, and then there's this thing is big.
How'd she miss it when she was folding the clothes?
How did it miss her? How did it not bite her when she's like cramming children's underwear like into little balls and throwing it in the drawer? I don't know. But apparently the Wrangler said it hid in some clothes. The mother brought in from the clothesline and it ended up being placed in the drawer with the clothing.
Okay,
it was
know exactly
removed.
how this happened. She had the basket out there. She was taking the clothes off the line into the basket. It crawled into the basket.
No, he said that they like to be up on the higher line, so probably either it fell into the basket or she pulled it down into the basket. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
there
matter.
Was a giant 5-foot eastern brown snake in her hands at some point, and it did not bite her. She's lucky to be alive. And there you go. That is the telltale sign. You should burn your house down.
What about the poor child? But imagine she hadn't seen the snake, and the child went to get its underwear out.
I know there's so many things that could have happened that didn't, that they should be very lucky. But anyway, there you go. That's your weird news for the day. Oh, but I didn't thank everybody who sent it to me, by the way. Remember, if you are looking in your news and you see a story, you're like, oh, that's super weird. Email it to me, jamie@horseradionetwork.com with the weird news in the subject line, just like Laureen, Michelle, Kate, Colt, Ina, Sheena, Stephanie, and Claire all did. Thank you guys for submitting your weird news stories, I think.
And in the post show, I have a news story that I want to talk to you about. That's a hell no from us horse husbands.
A big hell no.
A big
okay,
hell no.
Gotcha.
And it's coming up in the post show for the auditors. If you want to become an auditor, like we had a couple, like Sue and Sam did today, go to horsesinthemorning.com, click on the auditor banner, and for as little as $3 a month, you too can join the auditor group. Well, we really appreciate you guys listening today. We'll have more shows for you this week. It's only Wednesday. We got a couple more for you. Get your ads into Jennifer at horseradionetwork.com for really bad ads. Believe it or not, after 14 years and tens of thousands of ads, we haven't run out. People are still writing bad ads. So we'll be doing that. We'll be doing that on Friday.
And people are still buying horses from those ads, Glenn.
I know.
Weird.
Be safe. Be warm. We're thinking about all of you across the country.
Spay neuter geld. I'll tell you about the weird thing in the post show that I'm going to have looked at on this pony. Taco the pony.